Have you ever wondered why when people have money, they typically do not sell their assets when they need cash?
Yeah, and meanwhile, most people cash out their stocks, real estate, or their savings whenever they need money, which kills their wealth in the process.
But what if I told you there is a smarter way? So instead of selling, let's talk about how the wealthy borrow against their assets and keep their wealth growing while still having access to cash.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's on our heart to discuss today. Why the wealthy never sell their assets. Like when Elon Musk wanted to buy Twitter, he didn't use cash. He borrowed the money. He leveraged money. Why is that the case, and how can we do exactly the same?
Exactly. All right, so let's lay the groundwork. Let's talk about the cost of selling assets, okay? Because most people typically think that selling assets is the best way to access cash. But selling assets really has some downsides, so let's share them with you. Number one, you can trigger capital gains, meaning, right, taxable events. We don't want taxable events if we're selling assets.
And just a point to make about taxes is we created a video where we're saying that taxes is basically a blueprint for how you should manage your money. It's not the fact that people want to avoid taxes. It's what is the tax code telling us to do? If this creates a taxable event, meaning that it's going to take more money out of our possession, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we should find an alternative to save on taxes.
Yeah, that should be a red flag. Ding, 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 ding. Wait, what do we need to do? So the next thing that we need to consider is that you could be losing future growth of an asset, right? If you cash it out, where's the future money going to come from?
Yeah.
Those are some things that we don't technically think about, especially when we're in like the desperation phase, right? And then lastly, let's talk about the fact that we are breaking compound interest. Right. So when we think about a savings account, something that we all know, right? Make it simple. If I have $50,000 in my savings account and I take all of that $50,000 out, what happens? I'm no longer earning any interest on that $15,000. Why? Because it's gone. Right. So we have to start to really think about what we're doing and why we're doing them. And maybe there could just be other ways.
Right. Because let's be real. Time in the market is a losing game. Now, there's people who get lucky. And when they get lucky, they're on the cover of Forbes magazine or the investment magazine. But that's luck. How many of us have a crystal ball that say we can time this perfectly? Because here's the thing. If you sell today and the market goes up tomorrow, that asset shoots up the next year.
SOL.
What are you going to do?
That's what that's called. we can put the translation on the screen. Out of luck. So instead of selling, let's talk about a strategy called collateralized. Say it with me, Darius. Collateralized borrowing. Were we in harmony? Yes. So collateralized borrowing. Let's talk about that because there's another way, family. And collateralized borrowing, basically what it just means is you're borrowing against your asset instead of liquidating it. Okay. So
let's run through a couple examples. The first example is going to be, let's say you have money in the stock market. So example number one is borrowing against the stock market. If you own stocks, you can use a margin loan to borrow against that value without selling it and without triggering taxes. Keyword is not triggering taxes. If you trigger something called taxes that mean that maybe you should reconsider, or there's an alternative way to do it where it doesn't trigger taxes.
Let's talk about the second example, which we could talk about like real estate. Many people know what a home equity line of credit is or a HELOC, right? So let's borrow against the house so that you can leverage the cash to make investments, hopefully make more money, right? Then the other thing that we want to make sure that we're talking about is when we're doing this collateralized borrowing, we're doing it to make more money, family.
Yeah, we're going to get to that, but we just want to make sure that we throw that in ahead of time because there's a lot of people that borrow money and use it to buy a liability, which sets you up in a worse position than you started out with.
Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. Just the 101 lesson. So what's another example?
So just to add to that, or you have a cash out refinance to pull money out of while you keep the property, because that property appreciates in value, and you want to make sure that you hold on to assets because, to your point, assets put money into your pocket while liabilities take money out of your pocket. Now, here's one of our personal favorite is whole life insurance. With a properly designed policy, you can borrow against the cash value with no credit check, and you still earn interest on your full balance.
And again, I just want to clarify, family, life insurance is not an investment. What Darius just said, you buy a life insurance policy. We do something called collateralized borrowing to invest.
Right.
The same way you get a HELOC, the same way you do it with your stocks. We're borrowing against an asset to create more money. So we gave you 3 examples that you could do today if you had these assets: stocks, real estate, whole life insurance to be exact. Right? So we're giving you knowledge so that you understand how to do this collateralized borrowing.
We interrupt this regular scheduled program to bring you an important message.
Are you struggling to build wealth and feeling stuck in the paycheck to paycheck cycle?
Listen, financial freedom isn't just for the rich. It's about anyone who knows how to play the money game the right way.
And that's exactly why we teach our program called Financial Freedom for Your Whole Life, which is a step-by-step system so that you can start taking control of your money, creating cash, and stop depending on the banks.
So if you're ready to break free and start building real wealth, click on the link and join us today.
Back to our regular scheduled program. And let's talk about how borrowing can grow your wealth, right? Because here's a strategy and why this is so genius. The wealthy borrow money at a low rate, and then they invest it in higher earning opportunities. Exactly what I was alluding to before, right? So we're not borrowing to purchase liabilities. We're leveraging, using the power of leverage to create more money. It's always going to be that situation because what we want to keep our money, we want access to liquidity.
Yeah.
We always want access to liquidity.
So here's an example of this. Let's say you borrow at 5%, but you invest in real estate earning 12%.
Good example.
You're making money on money that wasn't even yours to begin with. You're making money on money that wasn't even yours to begin with. And here are the key takeaways we want you to take from this example is the fact that you keep your asset growing while you access cash. You keep your asset growing while you access cash. You avoid capital gains taxes from selling, and you leverage money for wealth building investments. And that's the key piece right here is leveraging the money for wealth building investments. We didn't say anything about a liability. We didn't say anything about you want to upgrade your car, which you can't use it for. But so
we didn't say lifestyle creep. That's what we did.
Lifestyle. Exactly.
That's what we did.
Exactly.
Because the key is to invest it in an opportunity that's going to earn you money, something that you're not having to do the extra work for. Mm-hmm. That is putting money into your pocket.
And that asset pays for your lifestyle.
Right.
Right, like Robert Kiyosaki, right? So let's talk about how you can use this strategy, right? So I want to stress so much, family, like this isn't about having a ton of money in the bank, right? I don't want you to get overwhelmed and thinking like, oh, well, only successful people can do this. No, if you got $5,000, you can do collateralized lending. Right. You know what I'm saying? You can do collateralized borrowing, So here's how you can get started. Remember, like we said, do you own stocks? How about you call your broker, see if they offer margin loans. There, you can start there. Number 2, if you own a home, look into HELOCs or cash out refinancing. What are your opportunities? What do you qualify for? How much can you access? When? All of those things. What are the interest rates? You want full control? I'm going to tell you to holler out a whole life insurance policy that gives you tax-free borrowing power with zero bank involvement. Mm-hmm. Okay, I said zero bank involvement, family, if we need to run that right back. Again, you can do this starting today with the assets that you probably have right now.
Now, multimillionaires have been using this for generations. That's how they became multimillionaires. They are in a position where they manage their money. They understand the rules to the game. And now it's your turn to do the same. And you don't have to be a multimillionaire to do it. You just have to operate with the same knowledge and intention.
Mm-hmm. And let me interject too, because this conversation isn't any different than the conversations we've had as far as like use OPM, mm-hmm. other people's money, like at the bouncy ball, other people's money, right? This isn't any different than any other conversation we've had on Wealth Nation. So all we're talking about is the strategy of using other people's money. And it just happens to be called collateralized borrowing.
Yeah, and this has been like heavy on our hearts just to make sure that we share with you, because there's a lot of people that in the comments say that you have to be wealthy in order to do this. Most wealthy people didn't start from wealth. They started from setting an intention, following a system, a proven system. We're not saying for you to recreate anything. Don't overcomplicate it. It's simple. If you have stocks already, see if there's margin loans. Mm-hmm. We said that. everybody has to live in a house. If you own a home, then you have the ability to leverage that for a cash out refinance or a HELOC so that you maintain that asset. You can't participate in compound interest when you remove the money from that vehicle. The idea is to keep the money growing, and you leverage that asset to borrow, to get a loan, and you use those funds, that cash that you have access to invest and make more money.
Mm-hmm. And the thing
is that simple.
I was going to say, in alignment with that, if money is the reason why you don't start, it's always going to be the reason why you don't start. Mm-hmm. So money is an excuse. Really, it is. Taking action. You can't tell people who have borrowed other people's money that it doesn't work, because we've done it. We've lived it. We've had to borrow other people's money because we didn't have our money to begin with, right? As we were starting Wealth Nation, as we were starting this whole infinite banking game, or even before that within real estate, we didn't have 6 figures to go drop on houses. We didn't have 5. We didn't have 4 figures to go drop on some houses. But we knew people who did, and we knew people who did not have the desire to take action, but we did. So you collaborate. Hey, you got $2. Let's figure out how to work your $2 into this system, and we both profit from it.
Right, and work out an opportunity for yourself to where you're paying 5%, and then you're able to invest and earn 12 and keep the difference.
Yeah, and you keep doing it again and again and again.
So instead of selling your hard-earned assets, borrow against them and keep your wealth working for you.
Mm-hmm. And Wealth Nation, if you want to learn exactly how to use whole life insurance to build a financial system, then check out our Wealth Nation implementation system. You can click on the link below where we teach you how this strategy works for you.
Right, and check out our next video where we share with you how to own your own bank.
And don't forget to own your own lifestyle.
Or someone else will.